Hi, everyone. My name is Amber Lyn. I am an author, a coach, and a community director for Pathway to Hope. Pathway to Hope was founded by Patrick Doyle. It's an online supportive community for women. Speaking of, here with Patrick Doyle, he's a best-selling author, an expert in emotional and spiritual abuse, and you're also a counselor. So welcome today.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So we are getting a lot of topic suggestions in, and one of the ones people really want to hear you talk about is the parent narcissist.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering, what are some common behaviors of a narcissistic parent from your perspective?
Well, let's just say this. Whether you're dealing with a parent narcissist or you're dealing with a spouse narcissist or dealing with a boss narcissist, their behavior is always fairly consistent. Okay. So, what you're going to find with somebody who's narcissistic, I see as underneath the title of narcissism is profound levels of denial. So, the narcissist believes their own lies. This is why when you say something to them or disagree with them or whatever, they're genuinely shocked because they believe the rhetoric that they're spewing out of their mouth from their internal world. They cannot take responsibility. So this sets up for a child all kinds of very confusing dynamics. Okay. So as a child, one of the things that we need, every child, in my belief, what they need desperately, and as a part of natural, normal, healthy development, is to be seen as a person. The parent sees the child, who they are, they understand them. It's not see them like I need to use them for my uh, supply so I can feel good about myself, which is what a narcissist would do. They use the child for their own well-being. Children need to be seen and they need to be cared for. Okay, those are two main things that kids need. Now, a narcissistic parent isn't capable of that. They can't do it. So however, they can feign it. They can say that they are doing it. They can leverage you. They can gaslight you. They can rationalize, minimize, justify, deny, spiritualize, blame shift. They're going to use all those tactics. And what happens is the kid starts to believe the what the parent is saying is true. Now you look at the world and it's kind of hard to understand because most of the people that I've had the privilege of working with that were raised by a narcissistic person, inside, deep down, they knew something was wrong. They knew that their parent was not right. They knew there was a problem. What were they going to do? They had to like survive. So when they start to figure this out, they're like, oh, now that makes so much sense. Why I felt that way, why that went this way, why that, what the circumstances were. So for the child, what it does is creates a lot of confusion. It creates a lot of insecurity about who you are, and it can either create a performance trap where you're on this treadmill to perform so you can get the love and the care you need, or it can go to the other side of the scale where you just don't care, and you can be kind of self-destructive because it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, knowing a little bit about you, and then also, of course, my own experience, we
Yes.
both grew up with narcissistic parents. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, the consequences, like what you're talking about, feeling like the problem, feeling like you're not good enough. I mean,
Yes.
it's something I definitely regularly have struggled with and had to work through with my own support. But, some of the things that I noticed that was really common in my life, and you can let me know if you notice this too, but like in these parental relationship where there's the narcissistic traits, they never take responsibility.
Correct.
And you are always the problem.
Yeah.
So the blame shifts and the manipulation in that way is so high and it's so confusing.
Correct.
But not only that, but they tend to be very self-centered. It's like all about them.
Mhm.
You don't have a voice. You don't matter.
Yep.
It's all about taking care of them, making them feel good. And I feel like I learned really well early on how to be good at that. Like just
Yeah.
in order to feel belonging, feel like I belong and feel accepted.
Yep.
But man, that really turned into a lot of codependency and other things in my adult life that I ended up in
Right.
really unhealthy relationships where I was just used and abused.
Mhm.
So and then the other thing, which I'd like for you to touch more on if you don't mind, but they're emotionally unavailable. And I think people
Yes.
hear that term, but they don't really like understand
Yeah.
what that means. Can you like help someone understand in a parent dynamic what that looks like, especially growing up?
Right. So one of the key problems that creates when a parent is emotionally unavailable is what it says to the child is your needs are a problem. And here's the deal. Every single person on the planet has needs. It's normal to have needs. But when you're in a situation where someone's emotionally unavailable and then manipulative on top of that, what you think is that you're a problem because you have a need. Now, if you're a child and you think you're a problem because you have a need, and then you translate that into adulthood, what's that going to do to your relationships if you can't have a need? Well, now what it is you can never be vulnerable. And the reason why you can't be vulnerable is because it's not allowed. But you're not conscious of that. That's something that plays out unconsciously. And then I've heard so many people say this to me. Well, do I just have a sign on my head that says abuse me? And the truth is, no, you don't. But it's the training. If you grew up in a home where that was normal, that's what you think. It's normal, but it's not. And I remember the first time I was around a family where the dad was nice as a kid, I was like, whoa, this is kind of weird. This can't be real. These this isn't normal. And then I go back to my home, and of course, it's not normal. But I didn't know any different. And so, a lot of times, as you grow up in these situations, because it happens to you as a child, you think it's who you are, but it's not, which is why we need to talk about these things because if you grew up under the manipulation, the unavailability, the gaslighting of a narcissist, it's going to affect how you see yourself. And we want to undo those things because it's not true. You're not the problem. You have problems, but you're not the problem.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
If you found this helpful, we created a free resource for you in the link below in the description. So feel free to click on that. And until next time. All right.
See ya.
Bye.